We have a second James Baker, Elon Musk Twitter bombshell this afternoon when we heard that Elon Musk fired Baker, the former FBI general counsel, now deputy counsel at Twitter. We all assumed that it was because of his active role in the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop. But then you would think for yourself, Elon probably already knew that. Why didn't he fire Baker, back in October when he took over Twitter? Nobody knows why he kept him on for basically 5, 6, 7 weeks, but we do know why he fired him today from Matt Taibbi. This just dropped on Twitter within the last hour or so. I was making that first video and then this popped up. So on Friday, the first installment of Twitter files were published here, Matt Taibbi's Twitter. We expected to publish more over the weekend. Remember how they said, well, okay, this is coming out on Friday afternoon, and then over the weekend, Barry Weiss, formerly of the New York Times, will have the second episode, so to speak. But nothing came out over the weekend, and nothing came out on Monday, and nothing came out on Tuesday. The only really big thing that happened was that late Tuesday, Musk fired James Baker. Like it wasn't enough that he suppressed the laptop story, but this is why he apparently was fired today. James Baker was fired, among the reasons, vetting the first batch of Twitter files without knowledge of new management. In other words, somehow James Baker, inserted himself in the process between Elon Musk and Matt Taibbi / Barry Weiss. Somehow he got in there to kind of screw up the works. Again, from Taibbi's thread today, late today. The process of producing the Twitter files involved delivery to two journalists, Barry Weiss and me, with a lawyer close to management. So that's kind of how the first batch went out, as we can understand what Taibbi is saying to us here. However, after the initial batch, things got complicated. Over the weekend, we dealt with obstacles to new searches. In other words, suddenly, things weren't working out as they thought they should be. And it was Barry Weiss who discovered that the person in charge of releasing the files was someone named Jim. So she calls up Twitter and she says, who's this Jim guy? Jim Baker. And according to Barry Weiss, her jaw hit the floor. I'm sure it did. This is like Fox guarding the hen house. I'm sure she was like, what? Taibbi goes on to remind you that James Baker had been involved in some way or another. As Jonathan Turley called him, he's like the Kevin Bacon of this whole nexus between the government and big tech to suppress bad news for the Democrats. He's the linchpin. So he's been involved in one way or the other with the whole Alpha Bank scandal, the Steele dossier. He got fired, basically quit fired from the FBI back in 2018. So Taibbi mentions this briefly in his thread today. He probably just wanted to get this news out. I mean, that whole Baker backstory, that could take a whole separate thread itself. But nonetheless, the news that Baker was reviewing the Twitter files surprised everyone involved. I mean, it was like, whoa. And then today, Musk fired Baker. Why he kept him along this whole last several weeks, I'll never understand. Well, maybe we will understand, but I don't understand it right now. Reporters resumed searches through the Twitter files this afternoon. A lot. In other words, now that Baker was gone, the whole research project is moving forward without any more hiccups. The next installment of the Twitter files will appear, and again, that's supposed to be coming from Barry Weiss. We don't know when that will appear, but hopefully this week. Stay tuned, says Matt Taibbi. Oh my God, this has more plot twists than some of those soap operas I catch my wife watching every once in a while. Is the movie, what is that called? As the World Turns, is that still on television? As Twitter turns, as the Tweety Bird turns. Oh man, it's unbelievable. Well, we'll keep you up to date as well. I'm John F. Gately, broadcasting to you from the home office, artwork by my daughter, here in Plymouth, America's hometown, in Massachusetts, behind enemy lines. Have a great night. Bye-bye.